So I'm really excited today to bring you the species profile of the Celebes Rainbow Fish. This is a great rainbow fish that doesn't get very large, that has incredible color, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. I'm going to show you a couple of tanks that came from Aquatics a long time ago. This was one from the Oaza booth that was absolutely outstanding, and then the other one was an Aquascape competition tank. So the Celebes Rainbow is, like I said, it's an awesome fish. It's from Indonesia, where it usually inhabits streams, and those streams are mostly freshwater, but every once in a while they can be found in the mildly brackish water parts of those streams as well. Now, believe it or not, in those particular areas, in these streams, the water is on the harder side, and we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Size, again, these fish are going to stay small. Now, these ones are not fully grown just yet, but they're going to usually max out right around 2.5 to 3 inches, and the coloration is really, really cool. So not only do they have those bright yellow eyes, but they get the yellow parts to their fins, both the tail fin and their dorsal fin. And I think it's those dorsal fins that provide so much interest, especially as the fish get older and larger. They are quite ornate. This is a really peaceful fish as well. So if you keep them in a group, you can keep them in your community tanks, and they get along well with one another. They get along well with other fish. And so there's not really a whole lot of problems when it comes to stocking for these fish either. But again, what really drives people towards these fish is you see that blue iridescence and the yellow. The males get those really great fins, and both the males and the females show decent color as well. You're usually going to live at least around 3 years or so. Retail prices typically somewhere around $5 to $8 a piece. Now, in terms of tank mates, some things to consider. One, if you're looking for these fish or fish like them, check out Flip Aquatics, flipaquatics.com. They are a channel sponsor, and they are partnered with us because they sell awesome fish and shrimp, and they quarantine their stuff to make sure that you're getting the healthiest possible fish and shrimp. Now, these guys I would keep in groups. General wisdom is at least groups of 6 or more. I like to keep those quantities a little bit higher. Certainly 10 to 12 is a really nice group of these fish because they do like to be together. They're not necessarily going to school super tightly as you're seeing throughout this video, but they absolutely will shoal together. If you're looking for tank mates, by the way, if you want more information on fish to keep with these, check out the description below. We'll have a bunch of species profiles for you there, as well as some species profiles of some other very small rainbow fish, and that would be a great tank mate option, like the blue-eye red rainbow, the threadfin rainbow, the Gertrude rainbow, all really, really great options. Small rasboras would be cool, like your Miras, your Chilis, your dwarf rasboras, CPDs, emerald dwarfs. That would be a really nice combination. You're looking for a centerpiece fish, something like a honey gourami, peacock gudgeons. Your dwarf cichlids would be just fine. Things like a pistogramma, rams. You've got your crebensis. Those would all really be pretty nice options. They're going to get along well with cory cats, guppies, endlers, platies, your live bearers. They're going to be snail safe. Shrimplets are most likely going to go missing because in nature these guys are micro predators. So will they pick off the larger adult shrimp? Maybe not, but your baby shrimp, most likely they're going to find those and they're going to eat them. Are they betta safe? For the most part, I would say yes. They're a little bit more active than bettas, and so at least in terms of activity level, you do have to kind of keep an eye on that. And the tank setup might not be, if you're ideally setting it up for the rainbow fish, bettas may not quite like the setup, and we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. The water parameters are pretty straightforward. Temperatures, typical tropical fish temperatures, anywhere from around 72, 73 on the low end, up to 80. We usually keep these guys on the warmer side, somewhere around 78 to 80. pH, you want to be a little bit higher on that pH, somewhere around 7 to 8. We usually keep them closer to a pH of 8. No issues there. They do like harder water, and so I would say anywhere between 8 to 20 degrees on your GH and KH. We keep them right around 10 degrees, and that's worked out just fine. Please keep in mind, this is not a fish that's going to do well if you have ammonia or nitrite in the aquarium. So you really do need a well-cycled aquarium. If you don't know what that means, check out that video in the upper right-hand corner. We go into what it means to cycle an aquarium and why ammonia and nitrite can be dangerous. Feeding these rainbow fish, really easy to do. I haven't found them to be particularly picky about the foods they eat. In our fish room, we feed all of our fish North Fin foods. These guys love the North Fin flakes, the kelp, the krill, the cichlid, and the community. We kind of rotate those around. And they also go crazy for live baby brine shrimp, so keep that in mind. That's a nice little snack for them. Certainly not necessary, but it's fun to watch them eat. Tank size. Now, usually when you see these guys at the fish store, they're going to be small. Usually an inch or so, maybe even less. And so the common wisdom is, oh, I can easily keep these guys in a 5 or even a 10 gallon. Probably not the best, because again, their max size is right around 2.5 to 3 inches. Because you keep them in a 10 gallon, again, with their activity level and the fact that you have to keep them in groups is probably not the best option. I really like a 20 gallon aquarium for these fish. Get a larger group of 8, 10, or 12, and it's going to look stunning in that 20 gallon aquarium. When you're thinking about how to set up the aquarium, substrate, the type of substrate, it really doesn't matter for these fish. They don't interact with the substrate. So if you're going to be having fish that are towards the bottom of the aquarium, then maybe you want to consider sand, but for these fish in and of themselves, it doesn't really matter. I will say that these guys tend to show the best color when the substrate is darker and the background is darker. You're going to see a lot more of that blue and that yellow iridescence that you're seeing in parts of this video. Especially the yellow finish really starts to show a little bit more when you have those darker backgrounds. To keep them safe and secure, I definitely like to have rocks and wood, plants. If you don't want to use live plants, you can use the plastic ones, but throughout this video, you're seeing some really good setup options for these fish. Now, one thing to consider, again, I kind of mentioned this at the beginning of the video, flow. These fish naturally come from streams. The flow is not going to be super strong, but they don't mind some flow, and that's why I said with the bettas, personality-wise, it might be okay, but when you're setting up these aquariums and you want to add a little bit of flow, bettas aren't going to like that. So just keep that in mind with these guys. The fish that you add, if you can have a little bit of flow in the aquarium, and when I say flow, a standard hang-on back filter is going to be plenty. If you've got a canister filter in a medium or larger size tank, that's going to be more than what you need. You don't have to do anything special necessarily, but again, just keep that in mind. Now, if you are interested in breeding this fish, it does take a little bit of work. You're going to want to get the water parameters at least above 7, probably 7.5 or so. And then also, again, the water hardness needs to be a little bit on the harder side, but they are egg scatterers, which means a lot of people, they'll put spawning mops in a 10-gallon tank. They will usually, when they're at size, right? So when you have adult males and females, they will usually scatter the eggs and they will stick to the spawning mop. You take the spawning mop out, put it in a 2.5 or a 5-gallon. Those eggs will eventually hatch. Usually takes around 5 days or so. It kind of depends on the temperature. They're going to be absolutely minuscule fish, and so you're going to need some infusoria, some fry food initially, and then as they get a little bit older, you can switch to live baby brine. And so usually that's the main thing, is making sure that the fry have food to eat. Keep in mind, if you leave the eggs in the tank, the adult fish are going to eat it. All right, so even the adult Celebes rainbows, they're going to eat the fry, they're going to eat the eggs, and you're never going to see fries. So you do have to remove either the adults or you have to remove the eggs so that you can actually have the fry survival. This is a great fish. I mean, again, if you're looking for something peaceful, something that's got those really cool fins, you want something that's going to provide a little bit of activity like you've seen throughout here in that middle part of your aquarium, this may be the fish for you. And again, if you're looking for species profiles on fish you can keep with these guys, check out that video in the upper and lower right-hand corner and check out the description below as well, because we've got a lot more for you there. Appreciate you being here, and we'll see you next week.